Hello everyone, welcome to our quick guide on handling income requests in ASP.NET Web API controllers. So in this video you'll learn about query parameters, route parameters, and from body parameters. So let's get started. So first thing we're doing here is creating a brand new project. It's going to be a .NET Core Web API project. Let's go ahead and name it to whatever we want it to name. Let's go do products applications, products API. Let's generate our project. Once our project is generated, as you guys can see, all the files in here. We don't really care about all the default folders or files. Let's go ahead and just test it, make sure it is working. And just a reminder, we're going to be using Swagger for this example here. For a few things, we're going to be doing Swagger. For others, we're just going to use a URL. So as you can see here, the project is running. Let's go ahead and set up our initial class, and let's create a controller. Right-click on your controller folder, add controller, and then on the left side, select API, and select API controller.empty. Go ahead and click add. Let's name the controller products controller. Add. Now we have a brand new controller. But let's go ahead and set up a list of products first. Just control and paste from somewhere else and create our products class so we can use on this example. Okay, so here it is. We have a products class and a list of products to use for this example. The first type of parameters we're going to be doing in this example, it's going to be query parameters. What are query parameters? So the definition of query parameters are commonly used to pass data in the URL. In ASP.NET controllers, you can easily extract this parameter and use in your code. Here's our quick example. We're going to create a function that's going to return a list of products. We're going to call it getProducts. And we're going to make sure we enter this property, which is called from query. We got to make sure to do this and put our parameter name is going to be category. And in this case, we're just going to try to find a category that matches the parameter category and return the list of products with the category. Okay, that's all this function is doing. And we're going to set up a route right now. And our route here in this example, it's going to be a get. And we're going to do, it's going to be an API controller. No, it's going to be controller API products. And we're going to end up in products. And in this case here, all we need to do in order to pass this category to this function on the URL, we're going to include API/products, question mark, category, and the category value. So it should look like something like this. So it's going to API products, question mark, and the category, my parameter name, category, and my parameter value. So it's going to look something like this. But make sure you use the same name so it matches when you send it. And the value here in this case, we're going to do parts, just like we have in line 13, which is going to be parts right there. Yeah. So that's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and run it, make sure it works. So we're going to do, the first test is going to be Swagger. We're going to try in Swagger. As you can see, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Swagger. It's pretty straightforward. Just go ahead and click try it out up on the right side. And let's pass in our parameter or category, which is going to be parts, execute, and as you guys can see at the bottom here, I get a list of part. So this is the very easy thing to do here. It's just to use Swagger. Now let's go one step ahead. We want to use a URL instead of using Swagger. So we copy the request URL in Swagger and put it in a browser. And you paste into the browser and you hit enter. And as you can see, we got the same response we got on the previous example. Okay. So in this case, make sure you use the question mark the parameter name and the parameter value when doing this. And the parameter value can also be null, and it's going to be blank. Like an example here, if you put null, as you guys can see, the list is going to return empty. The next parameter type we're going to learn is route parameter. Route parameters are pretty similar to query parameters. The only difference is route parameter uses curly braces. So let's go ahead and make a copy. And in this case, we're just going to do a product, and we're going to put the product ID. So it's going to be slash braces and ID. And instead of using from query, we're going to use from route in here. And we're going to pass in an ID. The ID is going to be the parameter. In this case, we're going to make an integer. And because it's an ID, we're going to look for a unique one. So we're just going to return the very first ID that's found. And we're just going to return just a single product instead of a list. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, and as you can see here, it's going to look, the URL is going to look pretty similar, but it's going to be slash and the ID of the product in this case. So pretty simple, pretty similar to query parameter. There's a little bit of differences, but it's pretty similar. We got to make sure we have route, and let's go ahead and test it. Then again, we're going to do Swagger, then we're going to do the URL. As you guys can see, Swagger is going to be pretty similar. It's right there, the get's right there. You pass in the ID 5. As you guys can see, I got a result, right? This is the Swagger one. And now, just like I did on the last one, let's go ahead and do the URL one. Let's grab the URL from the request URL, paste in our URL, and then in this case, let's do a 4. As you guys can see, I get a product with the ID number 4 or an ID number 3. And the last parameter type, it's the request body, the from body. So let's go ahead and start it. So this one is just, the API is just going to be products. I'm not going to have a slash or color bracket or question mark, and it's going to be a post. So make sure for a request body from a from body, it has to be a post. So instead of using from route, we're going to use from body, and we're going to pass in a product, like a whole product, like a product object. And for this function, just for testing purposes, we're going to add that new product to the list of product. Add the product to the list, and then return the list of the product. Return the list of products in this case. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. You have a product, you add a new product, you add it to the list, and you return a list. Make sure it's a post. As you can see, the URL is pretty straightforward. It's just API and the name of the path. And from body, it's going to be a little bit different than from query, than from URL, because we can't really test from URL. So we're going to be testing 100% in Swagger. So as you guys can see, you see the post in Swagger. That's the new endpoint we just created. And here's an example of the body should look like. So you copy that body, or once you click the try it out, the body is going to be there, right there. So we're going to put a name here. We're going to do product 100. And the category, it's going to be PC parts. And the ID, we're going to do 500. So once we execute, we're going to create that new product, and we're going to return the full list. As you guys can see here, here's the product. We're going to add to the list of products, and we're going to return the product list. So let's go ahead and test that. Let's go ahead and run it. Execute. As you guys can see, here's the full list. Here's at the bottom here, you're going to see the brand new product we just added. So to summarize, from query parameters, make sure you use from query, use the question mark with your parameter name and the value. From route, make sure you use the from route, make sure you use curly braces and whatever that ID is in between the curly braces. And the last one, it's going to be from body, which the body response. It's pretty straightforward. Just make sure this one is a post. Thanks for watching, guys.